accepted the fact that changing business requirement is the reality. And that's why more and more companies are adopting agile practices. Today, I'm going to talk about when an agile practice, particularly Scrum, is being implemented in a project, what kind of frustration it brings to the team and how to deal with it. Scrum defines three roles: a Scrum Master, a Product Owner, and the team. Scrum Master and Product Owner roles are clearly defined. What they need to do and what they are not allowed to do. But the team role is not defined. The only thing that is defined is team need to deliver what is being agreed as a sprint goal at the end of the sprint by fulfilling the acceptance criteria for each user story and closing it with a definition of done. But this team constitutes of various individuals having different roles at times. Let's look at each of these individuals, the role itself, and get into what frustration it brings to each of these role takers. The first role is of software developer. As the requirements are in changing phase, the developer is not sure how he need to develop his or her code. Even the requirement document is not complete, which essentially means he or she might need to change the code that he is or she is currently writing. The second role is of tester. Even for tester, the defects that he or she identify might not be relevant going forward. Also, in a testing organization, sometimes the number of defects identified is one of the key matrices, whereas Agile says having pair programming and reducing the number of defects early in the life cycle is the key, which means the key performing index of identifying defects goes away from the tester, and that sometimes bring frustration in the mind of a tester. The third role is of business analyst. As the requirement keep on changing or they are not clear, the requirement documents, the discussions have a lot of open questions. And even with these open questions, the business analyst need to explain everything to the technical team, solve their queries during the sprint. And sometimes I have seen business analysts getting frustrated because of these scenarios. And the last role could be of the technical architect, who is defining and designing the entire system. As the requirement keep on evolving, even the architect need to frame the entire architecture in such a fashion that it become more and more robust, in the sense that the change does not affect the remaining part. Brings me to the point how we are going to solve this. For this, I could give you three possible solutions. Number one, when the requirements are not clear and it's in a constant changing phase, try to reduce the size of the sprint. So don't have the sprint more than 2 weeks, which essentially means you are not creating waste for a longer duration. If you have sprint for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, which essentially means you have developed as a team something which is not required after 4 weeks. Also, by reducing it less than 2 weeks to 1 week or even less, will bring more overhead of ceremonies and meetings. The second thought, make sure that the team set a threshold limit when not to accept the change. One idea could be, once sprint goals are being set, ensure that even if the requirement are getting changed, either you pull off the entire user story out of the sprint, or you consider the changed requirement only in the next sprint. And this is primarily the responsibility of the team as well as of the Scrum Master. And the third idea is to ensure that if the requirements are getting changed too much after a threshold limit, cancel the entire sprint. So for example, if the requirements are being changed by more than 60 or 70% based on your team agreement, you need to ensure as a team, as a Scrum Master, that you cancel the entire sprint. You cancel the goals of the sprint, redo the sprint planning again, and then build your system from there on. I hope these three ideas of reducing the sprint timing, ensuring that you have a threshold limit when to consider the changing requirement within the sprint, and what is the threshold limit when a sprint can be called as cancelled will help you getting away your frustration when you are working within the team with certain roles. And in the end, I can only say changing requirement is the reality. Organizations have already accepted it. It's time for various individuals or the role taker to accept that reality as well and try to change the mode of your working. I hope this video helps you getting ahead and getting involved in an agile team in a much better way. If you like my video, do like, subscribe and share, and I see you next week. Thank you very much.